Welcome to the Town Board Special Legislative Session for June 21st. Would I like to call this meeting to order? Will the clerk, will you stand and join me in the pledge? Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Drawe.
Here.
Kohl is absent. Lee.
Here.
Ockenden.
Here.
Thank you. Tonight we have no communications and announcements. We have no public participation. Additions and deletions to agenda. Board?
Do not have any.
Seeing none. Approval of minutes, we have none. Petitions?
None received.
We
Thank
have
you.
none. Thank you. I will proceed to resolutions by function. Law and finance. Will the clerk please read
Setting
the-
a public hearing for special permit and preliminary and final site plan approval to allow the use of the existing property located at 1225 Empire Boulevard for support operations and ancillary parking for K2 Brother Brewery.
So moved.
Second.
Whereas an application has been received by the Penfield Town Board for the issuance of a special permit and site plan approval pursuant to Town Code that would allow the use of existing structures and site located at 1225 Empire Boulevard. Whereas the Town Board is best suited to act as lead agency within the meaning of the State Environmental Quality Review Act. Now therefore be it resolved that the application of this, the subject of this resolution has been reviewed and classified as a Type 2 action pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Law, and the requirements of seeker have been satisfied with no further environmental analysis being required. Be it further resolved that the Town Board shall hold a public hearing on July 5th at 6:30 p.m. to consider this application and hear all interested persons. Be it further resolved that the legal notice of this public hearing shall be published in accordance with law.
Okay. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Drawe.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
All aye. Setting a public hearing to consider a local law to amend Chapter 94 of the Penfield Town Code, building construction.
So moved.
Second.
Whereas the Town Board recently adopted amendments that followed the model template provided by New York State, and whereas the town finds that one of the listed exemptions does not provide the town with sufficient oversight to ensure that sheds and storage structures conform with the town's zoning regulations. Whereas the town wishes to consider adopting a proposed local law of 2023 that would amend this section of Town Code to remove sheds from the list of categories exempt from obtaining a permit. Whereas the Town Board, I'm sorry, I have a question on this one. Is the
public hearing?
no, I'm sorry. I see the inclusion here that it's lead agency as seeker. Would that be applicable here for an amendment to the town law?
Yeah, it would be.
It would be. Okay, thank you. I'll continue then. Whereas the town is designated as a lead agency and classifies this action as an unlisted action pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act. Now therefore be it resolved that the town shall hold a public hearing on July 5th at 6:30 p.m. to consider the matter and hear all persons interested, and that the town clerk publish notice of this hearing in accordance with law.
Great, thank you. Any
Drawe.
May I please just
I'm
provide
sorry.
further comments? So as we recently discussed at the work session earlier tonight, this this action is to bring us back into precedent prior to adopting the amendment that we would follow the model template by New York State. It has been the precedent and longstanding practice that sheds and other structures built on residential property be subject to our zoning and code provisions, so that any such easements or correct property demarcations can be followed. We noticed that this, unfortunately, there was an oversight in not including sheds from there was oversight in accidentally including sheds from the list of exemptions, and this would be to correct that their error and bring us back into compliance with our regulations previous to the amendment.
Correct. Thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Drawe.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
All aye. Authorization to post temporary no parking signs.
So moved.
Second.
Whereas it's the Town of Penfield's responsibility to promote and maintain public safety on roads within the Town of Penfield, and whereas pursuant to New York State Vehicle and Traffic Law, Section 1660, the Penfield Town Board is granted the authority to authorize the establishment of traffic control devices on town highways within the Town of Penfield. And whereas the Town of Penfield wishes to keep the neighborhoods around the town's Independence Day celebration parade route and festivities at Harris Wayland Park accessible to emergency vehicles. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board hereby authorizes and establish that no parking will be established along both and/or one side of all and/or parts of the following streets for the duration of the town's Independence Day celebration, parade and festivities at Harris Wayland Park. Those roads include Baird Road, north of Penfield Road, Peachtree Road, Hotchkiss Circle, Wheelock Road, Kenmont Drive, Henderson, Avonmore, Hidden Meadow, Hillrise, Lazy Trail, Valley Green, and Valley Green Circle, Maple Hill Farm, both road and circle, and Timber Glen Trail, Woodside Drive, Harmon, and Harris Wayland Park Road. Be it further resolved, the Town Board hereby authorizes and directs the Director of Public Works to post said temporary no parking signs along both and/or one side of said streets.
Thank you. Any discussion? Something we do every year for our annual parade on July 1st.
And Supervisor, can you just clarify when those parking signs would be placed and then when they would be removed?
And I believe they're placed the 24 hours before, and then they're removed promptly, probably
Yeah, I think usually
the day.
end of the evening or first thing in the morning,
Right,
they
the
get
next day.
pulled. Pulled
You
out of
would
the
know that
yards,
probably
yeah.
from-
Yeah, it happens in my.
It's in your neighborhood, yeah. So,
Okay, so for at most 48 hours.
At
sure.
most.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Okay, any other? Very simple. Thank you. Roll call vote, please.
Drawe.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Ockenden.
Aye.
All aye.
That concludes our resolutions. There is no old business board. Any new business? Seeing none, no executive session this evening. Our next meeting will be July 5th, 2023. Before I adjourn this, I'd like to thank PCTV and our security tonight and our audience tonight. So thank you for coming on this summer solstice day, the longest. Welcome to summer. So I'd like to adjourn this meeting at 6:40 this evening. Thank you, and have a very nice solstice.